Picture this. The world outside my window is a blur of muted grays, the kind of morning where the sky seems to be holding its breath, waiting for something to break. I'm standing in front of the mirror, smoothing down the edges of my hair, my reflection staring back at me with a quiet kind of restlessness. My name's Sophia. I'm 32, and I've spent the last 6 years building a life with a man who's as driven as he is elusive. That's Jake, my husband, 38 years old, and the director of Nexus Innovations, a tech giant that seems to own more of his time than I ever could. Don't get me wrong, our marriage is woven with love, threads of it strong and golden in the right light. But there are days, more than I'd like to admit, where I feel like I'm just a polished piece in the showcase of his life, a supportive smile at company dinners, a warm presence waiting at home while he conquers boardrooms and seals deals across the country. Jake's world is fast-paced, a whirlwind of late-night calls and sudden flights, and I've learned to carve out my own space in the quiet moments he leaves behind. But it's not just the two of us in this orbit. There's Ryan, a senior manager at Nexus, 35 and sharp as a blade. He's been Jake's right-hand man for years, always lingering at the edge of our social circle with that sly grin of his, like he knows something the rest of us don't. He's got a quick tongue, always ready with a clever quip and a confidence that fills a room without even trying. I've never given him much thought beyond the polite nods and small talk at corporate events. Jake's colleague, nothing more, nothing less. But there's something about the way he carries himself, a kind of effortless charm that's hard to ignore, even if I've never let my mind wander there. Today, though, feels different. Like the air itself is charged with a promise of something new. Jake came home last night with an unexpected invitation, his voice casual but warm as he asked if I'd join him on a business trip. A conference in a neighboring state, just a short drive away, but a rare chance to step out of our usual rhythm. He mentioned Ryan would be tagging along, the three of us heading out together, and I felt a flicker of excitement at the thought. It's not often I get to see Jake outside the confines of his schedule, to share a slice of his world beyond the walls of our home. So, I said yes without a second thought, my mind already racing with the little details of getting ready. I spent the morning fussing over what to bring, pulling out my favorite sundress, the one with the soft, flowing fabric that catches the light just right. It's a pale lavender, a color that makes me feel alive, and I couldn't help but smile as I folded it into my suitcase. I took my time getting ready. As we pull out of the driveway, the city's familiar hum fades behind us, replaced by the steady drone of the SUV's engine. I settle into the passenger seat, the leather cool against my skin, and let my gaze drift out the window. The world outside is a kaleidoscope of green. Fields stretching endlessly, blurring into streaks as we pick up speed on the highway. Every now and then, a whiff of Jake's cologne, sharp and woody, mixes with the faint scent of the car's interior, grounding me in this moment. It's a small thing, but it feels intimate, like I'm finally stepping into a part of his life that's usually just out of reach. In the driver's seat, Jake's focused, one hand on the wheel, the other resting casually as he chats with Ryan, who's sprawled in the back. Their conversation buzzes with work talk. Something about a merger deal that's been keeping them up at night, client presentations that need polishing before the conference. I catch bits and pieces, nodding occasionally, but my mind isn't really on their words. I'm too caught up in the scenery, the way the urban sprawl has given way to wide, open spaces, the horizon unbroken except for the occasional farmhouse or weathered barn dotting the landscape. It's peaceful, a stark contrast to the constant rush of our life back home. As we drive further, the road turns more rugged, the asphalt narrowing as dense forests rise up on either side. The trees are towering, their branches knitting together overhead, casting long dappled shadows across the car. The afternoon sun is sinking lower now, painting everything in a warm, golden haze, and I can't help but feel a quiet contentment settle over me. Being here, with Jake, even if it's just for a business trip, feels like a rare gift. I steal a glance at him, his profile sharp against the light, and my heart tugs with a warmth I don't often let myself dwell on. For once, I'm not just waiting for him to come home. I'm part of his world, even if it's just for a few days. We've been on the road for about an hour when there's a sudden jolt, the SUV lurching slightly beneath us. My stomach dips, and before I can ask what's wrong, a rhythmic thumping sound starts up, steady and insistent. Jake mutters a curse under his breath, his jaw tightening as he grips the wheel harder. Flat tire, he grumbles, already easing the car onto the shoulder of the deserted road. The forest looms close on both sides, the silence of the area pressing in as the engine cuts off. He turns to Ryan and me, his tone clipped but calm. "Stay in the car, I've got this." Then he's out, popping the trunk to grab the jack and spare tire, his movements brisk and practiced. Through the window, I watch him work, his broad shoulders hunched as he kneels by the wheel. He's shrugged off. The silence in the car grows heavier with each passing second, a thick, suffocating weight that seems to press down on me. I try to fill it with small talk, tossing out a casual comment to Ryan about the eerie stillness of the forest around us, but my words fall flat, dissolving into the quiet like they never existed. He gives a half-hearted hum in response, and I can feel the conversation fizzle out before it even starts. My eyes drift to the window, seeking some kind of distraction, and I watch Jake outside, his figure bent over the tire, muscles straining as he wrestles with the lug nuts. The late afternoon light casts long shadows across the gravel shoulder, making the scene feel almost surreal, like a painting I'm not supposed to touch. I'm lost in that thought when I sense a subtle shift in the air beside me. It's almost imperceptible at first, but then I feel it, Ryan moving closer in the back seat. My skin prickles with an odd awareness, and I turn my head to look at him, a question already forming on my lips. But the words die in my throat when I meet his gaze. His eyes are dark, unreadable, like twin pools of ink that seem to pull me in despite myself. There's something in them I can't quite place, something that makes my stomach twist in a way I don't want to name. I shift in my seat, suddenly hyper-aware of the confined space, the way the leather creaks under me, the faint scent of his aftershave cutting through the stale air of the car. Then I notice his hand. It's moving slowly, deliberately, inching toward me until it rests just above my knee. My breath catches, a sharp little gasp I can't suppress. Through the thin fabric of my lavender sundress, I can feel the warmth of his touch, a heat that seems to sear straight through to my skin. My heart kicks into overdrive, pounding so hard I'm sure he must hear it. A storm of conflicting thoughts crashes through my mind. Part of me screams to slap his hand away, to shout at him, to demand what he thinks he's doing. But there's another part, a quieter, more dangerous part, that hesitates. It's a part of me I've buried under years of routine and loyalty. A part that's grown restless in the monotony of my life with Jake, whispering temptations I've never dared to entertain until now. Time seems to slow, stretching the moment into something almost tangible. His fingers linger there, not moving, just resting with a weight that feels like a question. I can feel every ridge of his knuckles through the fabric, the slight pressure as if he's testing my reaction, waiting to see if I'll pull away. My throat is dry, my mind a chaotic mess of shoulds and shouldn'ts. I glance out the window again, catching a glimpse of Jake still focused on the tire, oblivious to the silent drama unfolding just feet away. The warmth of Ryan's touch spreads, a slow burn that creeps up my leg, and I hate how it sends a shiver through me, how it stirs something I've kept locked away for so long. Then he moves again, leaning forward, his presence suddenly overwhelming in the small space. His voice comes low, husky, a murmur that seems to vibrate in the air between us. He lifts my hand, his lips brushing against the back of it, in a gesture that's both old-fashioned and shockingly intimate. "Let's do this quietly," he whispers, his breath warm against my skin. "So your husband doesn't hear." The words hit me like a physical blow, stealing the air from my lungs. I'm frozen, caught between shock and a forbidden thrill that I can't deny. My mind screams at me to stop, to push him away, but my body doesn't move. I don't pull back. Instead, I feel myself teetering on the edge of a line I never thought I'd cross, and then, against every rational thought, I let myself fall. What happens next is a blur of hushed urgency, a stolen moment in the confined space of the back seat. It's hurried, secretive, every movement laced with the constant fear of being caught. The windows fog. My heart is still hammering in my chest as I push open the car door, the cool metal of the handle grounding me for just a fleeting second. My legs feel like they're made of jelly, trembling beneath me as I step out onto the gravel shoulder. The forest air hits me like a wave, sharp and crisp against my flushed skin, carrying the earthy scent of pine and damp soil. I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself, to shove down the storm of guilt and adrenaline still raging inside me. Every sound around me feels amplified, like the world is screaming my secret back at me, the crunch of gravel under my sandals, the faint rustle of leaves in the breeze, the distant call of some unseen bird hidden in the trees. I wrap my arms around myself, as if that could somehow hold together the pieces of me that feel like they're unraveling. I glance toward Jake, who's still crouched by the wheel, his focus entirely on the tire. The clink of tools echoes in the quiet, a steady rhythm as he works, oblivious to the chaos I've just unleashed inside the car. My stomach twists as I force myself to walk over to him, each step heavier than the last. I need to act normal, to pretend nothing's wrong, but my body betrays me. My hands are clammy, my breath shallow, and when I finally reach him, I can barely get the words out. "How's it going?" I ask, my voice pitching unnaturally high, like a stranger's. It's a pathetic attempt at casual, and I cringe at how forced it sounds. Jake doesn't even look up. He just grunts, a low, non-committal sound, his eyes fixed on the lug nuts as he tightens them with a wrench. His silence is deafening, heavier than it should be. Normally, he'd toss out some reassuring comment, maybe a quick joke to ease the tension of being stranded out here. But now, there's nothing, just the tight set of his jaw, the way his shoulders seem to carry an invisible weight. My stomach churns with dread, a sickening lurch that makes me want to turn and run. Does he know? Did he hear something through the tinted windows, catch a glimpse of a shadow that didn't belong? Or am I just projecting my own guilt, seeing suspicion where there's only frustration at a flat tire? I stand there, frozen, watching the muscles in his arms flex with each turn of the wrench. The late afternoon light catches the sheen of sweat on his forehead, and I can't help but notice how distant he feels, like there's a wall between us I can't see but can definitely feel. My mind races, replaying every second of what just happened in the car, every stolen touch, every whispered word. The heat of it still lingers on my skin, a shameful brand I can't wash away. I open my mouth to say something else, anything to break this suffocating quiet, but the words stick in my throat. Instead, I mumble a weak excuse about needing to get back to the car and turn away before he can respond. My sandals crunch against the gravel again as I retreat, my pace quicker now, desperate to escape the weight of his silence. I slide back into the passenger seat, pulling the door shut with a soft thud. Inside, the air feels stale, thick with the aftermath of what I've done. Ryan is there, sprawled in the back seat like nothing happened, his posture casual as he scrolls through his phone. The nonchalance of it stings, like a slap to the face. How can he sit there so calmly, when my entire world feels like it's teetering on the edge of collapse? I keep my eyes forward, staring at the dashboard, unable to meet his gaze. My hands grip the edge of the seat, fingers digging into the leather as if that could anchor me against the tidal wave of paranoia and shame crashing through me. Every second stretches into eternity, the silence in the car a living thing that presses against me from all sides. I can still feel the ghost of Ryan's touch, the memory of it burning beneath my skin, and I hate myself for it. I hate how I let it happen, how I crossed my heart is a wild drum in my chest as I sit there, the leather of the passenger seat sticking to my skin, the air in the car so thick I can barely breathe. The weight of what just happened with Ryan lingers like a shadow I can't shake, a secret that's carved itself into the very atmosphere around me. I'm still reeling, my thoughts a tangled mess of guilt and confusion, when Jake finally finishes with the tire and climbs back into the driver's seat. The door slams shut with a heavy thud, and I flinch, my nerves frayed to the breaking point. He doesn't look at me, doesn't say a word at first, just wipes his hands on a rag with a kind of deliberate slowness that makes my stomach twist. The silence is suffocating, a void that seems to swallow every sound, every thought, until there's nothing left but the pounding in my ears. Then, out of nowhere, he speaks, his voice low and steady, cutting through the quiet like a blade. "Sophia, I saw what happened." My blood turns to ice, my breath catching in my throat as I whip my head toward him. My mouth goes dry, lips parting but no words coming out, as I stare at his profile, searching for any hint of anger, of betrayal, of anything I can cling to for understanding. But his face is a mask, unreadable, his eyes fixed on the road ahead even though the car isn't moving. They're cold, almost detached, with a flicker of something I can't name, curiosity maybe, or something darker that sends a shiver down my spine. I wait for the explosion, the accusations, the hurt I know I deserve, but it doesn't come. Instead, he turns his head slowly, meeting my gaze for the first time, and what he says next steals the ground from under me. "I want you to do it again, right now, while I watch." The world tilts, my mind scrambling to process his words. They hang in the air, heavy and impossible, like a challenge I can't comprehend. My hands tremble in my lap, fingers curling into fists as I try to find my voice, to protest, to ask if he's lost his mind. But there's nothing. My throat is a desert, my thoughts a screaming chaos telling me this is wrong, so wrong on every level. Yet, beneath the panic, there's this bizarre magnetic pull, a twisted urge to comply, as if I've stumbled into some dark game I don't understand but can't escape. I glance back at Ryan, and there he is, leaning forward in the back seat, that same sly grin curling his lips, like he's been waiting for this moment all along, like he knew it was coming before I did. His eyes lock with mine, a silent dare, and I feel the heat of his presence all over again, a reminder of the line I've already crossed. I turn back to Jake, his gaze still on me, burning into my skin from the driver's seat, watching every flicker of hesitation, every shift in my expression. It's suffocating, the way he looks at me, not with anger, not with pain, but with an intensity that feels like it's peeling back every layer I've tried to hide behind. My mind is a storm, shouting at me to stop, to get out of the car, to demand answers, but my body feels tethered to his will, caught in the strange gravity of his request. Slowly, almost against my own volition, I shift, turning toward the back seat, feeling the weight of Jake's eyes tracking every move I make. The forest outside is eerily still, the towering trees pressing close around us, their shadows casting the car into a dim, claustrophobic bubble where every breath feels amplified, every heartbeat a thunderclap. What unfolds next is a surreal dance of boundaries shattered, a moment so charged with tension, It feels like the air itself might ignite. I'm caught in a whirlwind of emotions as I navigate this forbidden space, the thrill of it tangled with a deep, gnawing unease. It's not just the act itself, though the rush is undeniable, a forbidden current that courses through me, but the weight of Jake's. As Jake starts the engine again, the low rumble vibrates through the car, pulling me out of the haze of what just transpired. I settle back into the passenger seat, my hands still trembling slightly, my mind a tangled web of emotions I can't begin to unravel. The forest outside seems to close in tighter as we pull back onto the narrow road, the towering pines and thick underbrush blurring past my window in a dizzying rush of green and shadow. The hum of the tires on the asphalt is a constant, almost hypnotic drone, a steady rhythm that fills the oppressive silence inside the car. It's a sound that seems to echo the chaos in my head, each rotation of the wheels grinding against my thoughts, wearing them down to raw, jagged edges. The scenery shifts slowly as we drive on, the dense woods gradually thinning out, giving way to patches of open land and the occasional glimpse of small, sleepy towns. I watch as weathered houses with sagging porches and faded paint flicker by, their windows dark and uninviting, like they're keeping secrets of their own. Rusted mailboxes stand guard at the end of gravel driveways, and every now and then, a lone figure, maybe a farmer or a child, pauses to watch our SUV pass, their faces unreadable in the fading light. The towns grow closer together, their edges blending into one another, until finally, the first hints of city lights appear on the horizon, a faint glow that promises something more familiar, more contained. Street lamps and neon signs start to dot the landscape, casting a harsh, artificial sheen over everything, a stark contrast to the wild, untamed forest we've left behind. But even as the world outside transforms, inside the car, it's as if time has frozen. Not a single word is spoken. The silence is a heavy, living thing, pressing down on me, suffocating in its intensity. I don't dare look at Jake or Ryan, afraid of what I might see in their eyes, or what they might see in mine. I'm lost in my own head, replaying every moment of what happened on that forest road, each memory a sharp, cutting thing I can't escape. How did we get here? How did I let myself fall so far? Cross lines I never imagined I'd even approach? And what does it mean for me and Jake, for the life we've built together over these 6 years? My mind churns with questions, each one more unsettling than the last. I steal a glance at Jake, his hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles are pale, the tension in his frame almost palpable. His face is a mask of stoicism, jaw set hard, eyes fixed on the road ahead, as if he's driving through a storm only he can see. There's no trace of the man who looked at me with that strange, intense gaze just hours ago, no hint of the words he spoke that turned my world upside down. It's like he's locked it all away, buried it somewhere I can't reach. In the back seat, Ryan is a different story. I catch his reflection in the side mirror, his head tilted back against the seat, staring out the window with an expression that borders on indifference. He seems untouched by the weight of what we've done, as if it was just another moment in his day, a fleeting distraction he's already moved past. It stings, that casual dismissal, and I can't help but wonder what's going through his mind. Does he feel anything at all, or was this just a game to him? A way to pass the time on a long drive. The thought gnaws at me, adding another layer of confusion to the mess inside my head. When we finally pull into the hotel parking lot, the city lights are in full force, bathing everything in a cold, sterile glow. The building looms ahead, all glass and sharp angles, a modern fortress that feels as impersonal as the silence between us. We check in separately, each of us moving through the motions like strangers who just happen to be in the same place. I murmur something about being tired as I take the key card for our room, avoiding Jake's eyes as he nods curtly and mentions late-night work he needs to finish. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.